Hey guys, I hope everyone's doing fine out there. This is Filco here, and today I'm going to be reviewing and commenting my initial placement matches for the 2026 Season 2 on the Starcraft Remastered ladder. As you may know, I recently started a new challenge, which is probably going to be my last, which consists of reaching the B rank on the ladder. Why? Because basically I believe that the B rank corresponds to really the very good level on StarCraft Brood War. I think I was able to reach a confirmed status. I think that's basically what my you know initial challenges on IC Cup back in the old Brood War times led me to. And although I haven't been able to play in the last 2 or 3 years, um, I always place myself on the C rank on the ladder when I get the chance to play. So that's my starting position. It's to be around the 1700 MMR, which I seem to be unable to escape. Only once did I successfully reach the B rank after some good placement matches, but I wasn't really satisfied by that. I didn't really believe that it meant that I was actually B. I think it simply meant that I had played very well during my placement matches. So my goal is going to be to reach, I would say, organically, that is by climbing the ladder and playing as many games as I can, the B rank on the StarCraft Remastered ladder. To do that, I know what I need to do. First, there is a matchup which has always been a problem for me. That's my TVT. Currently, I think my win rate in TVZ is about or above the 60% percentage, and my TVP is roughly, I guess, 50% or something like that. And I'm improving. My TVT is just trash at this point. I think I perhaps win one game out of three. It's really ridiculous. That's because during all my Brood War years, I simply skipped the entire matchup altogether because, as you know, it's a very demanding, very difficult matchup, not the funniest. And so, although my TVP is probably already around the B rank and my TVZ is clearly B rank, my TVT, frankly, is D at this stage. Despite getting the initial advantage in many, many games thanks to my relatively high APM and my aggressive style, I simply tried to close the games too soon, and instead of capitalizing on my initial advantage, because I often succeed to find an angle, destroy SCVs, things like that, I simply throw the game away in so many instances, and I need to do that. So first, my first resolution is obviously to work on my TVT, and that may actually suffice to reach B. The second resolution is I'm going to stop complaining about Protoss. Protoss is not imba, it's not impossible to beat. It is clearly much, much easier to play, especially all the way to the B rank. That's not even a debate, but that's the way it is. It's actually a positive thing that there is a race which is much easier to play for, lower APM guys to enjoy the game as well. And you know what? As long as I don't lose to a stupid cheese or give the advantage early on to the Protoss because I react badly to what he's doing, the middle and end game are usually quite favorable as Terran. I have very strong pushes with my Marines and tanks and my Vultures and tanks, sorry. So, you know what? My second resolution is I simply need to stop complaining about Protoss players and um, try to improve, stop finding excuses, and really say GG every time. I complain enough about Protoss players not doing that when they lose to me. I need to do the same, even if it's a stupid win. It means that it's a stupid loss for me. Okay, so that's positive mindset. I acknowledge the win to my opponents when I lose, and I stop complaining about the race, and I start complaining about what I did wrong. My third resolution is really I need to look at every single replays of my defeats to try to learn at least one thing from every single of my defeats. I will stop looking at the replays of my wins, and I will start really studying hard my defeats. And if I do those three things, in particular number one and number three, I think B rank is really reachable because I have the mechanics, I have the APM, and I have the love for the game. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright guys, moving on to my placement matches. It went pretty well. Again, I reached safely the C level, and you'll see that my initial games were really all about starting to play more with my brain and less with my hands. And that really worked well for me, so I need to really focus more on my build orders, my meta, and play as strategic and as possible. Be able to calm down, focus during the game, breathe deep, and actually think about what I'm doing instead of just playing mechanically and automatically. So that's what I tried to do. I tried to implement my resolutions during my initial placement matches, and it went really well. I hope you guys enjoy. My first game was against a Terran player. I tried to play as safe as possible with an early scout around the 11-minute mark. I thought I was scouting me very early on, so already that looked pretty suspicious. I expected a proxy barrack somewhere, which is exactly what he did. Very early proxy barrack. The fact that he was harassing as much as possible my SCVs was also quite telling. You can see that he's sending a second SCV. Unfortunately, I won't be able to scout him immediately. I went to the wrong spot first, so that was a bit unlucky. But the fact that I will see here a second SCV, which frankly should have hidden much better because that was really a huge tell, that was really telling me that something was wrong. And here you will see that I will scout it basically. Here I'm sending another SCV because I was really suspicious. Here I see the second SCV and I know that something's wrong. I will quickly see the third one and the Marine. As well as a fourth SCV, and at this stage I know that all I have to do is defend, and I will have the edge in the game. I will have an undefeatable advantage. As soon as possible, I'm sending my SCVs. Here, that's a very unfortunate pathfinding that I had, and so I lose my first Marine, but as long as I'm blocking the ramp and defending with as many SCVs as I can, I should be fine at this stage. And here, I'm able to finish my bunker, kill his Marine, and that's basically game at this point. The rush has been successfully defended, he can do nothing about it, and there is just simply no way he can go up the ramp, and that's GG for me. Game number one was won easily, and that actually placed me in a very good mood for the next games to come. Alright guys, game number two, that was a bit unfortunate for me. I was playing against a Terran player whose MMR is 2100. So as you can see, the guy is already running at 500 APMs. It's really, and I'm complaining about it here. So at this stage, I knew that unless a miracle happened, I would basically lose. I know that's not the right mindset, but let's be realistic, guys. When you're playing against an A player like that, who's almost at the pro level, what can you do? This is probably a guy who plays, I don't know, 15 games a day, who's been playing for many years, or who's simply better at the game than I am. And mechanically speaking, there is simply nothing that I can do against a guy like that. So he will choose a very interesting build. He will go for a proxy racks in the middle of the game while taking his gas and going for a fast one factory expand after inflicting as much damage as he could. So basically his initial attack is his barrack placement is all about lifting his barrack to give him vision for later attacks. That's a crucial aspect of TVT. And also he will send like 3 Marines right before the first vulture timing, basically when I'm finishing my factory. Doing that is certain to take a few workers, he is certain to punish a fast expand, and he may also delay any cheese such as the 2 factory build, which I unfortunately chose to do. So you will see that he will basically attack me with that's it, with his 3 initial marines. Um, he will be quite lucky because I decided to cut my marines to build 2 factories. And you can see that as soon as his factory is finished, he starts his own command center while attacking with 3 SCVs and 3 marines and 1 SCV. He will quickly kill my marine, and at this stage this is panic. I simply did not see that coming because I didn't see that his rack was placed here in the middle, and you can see that he will even destroy my first vulture, and he will be able to successfully block it with his SCV and target fire it with his marines. So a very, very strong initial attack, which completely neglects my 2 factory push while also scouting it. And so behind that, all he has to do is keep producing vultures non-stop, creating further factories, more factories, because he will have such an initial advantage. You can see that he's already running on 20 SCVs against 19. My 2 factory build is completely useless. Soon he will have 3 factories himself. Wonderful, very strategic, very efficient build, which I'm going to try to replicate. And here, basically the game ended with him doing a very smart run by, hiding his vultures here. And when I tried to go out in a completely desperate move, that's when he will run by with his vultures, and that's how he will basically take the game. And I won't even fight, I will immediately GG, because at this stage, as you can see, my worker deficit is too high. There is no point in fighting that. You can see that he was even blocking my production with his initial barrack. So I was completely brain fucked, if I may say, and GG to him. You know, he played very well, and I'm happy to have had the opportunity to play against this guy, because I learned a lot, and that's exactly the sort of build that I need to implement in TVT now. Alright guys, moving on to game number 3. It's 1-1 at this stage. I'm here, I spawned in the bottom right corner, and my opponent is this yellow Protoss here in the bottom left corner. Orange, I should say. Here, I knew that the guy was low C or something like that. He had a low MMR, so I approached this game with a very positive mindset, thinking, okay, this is one. If your MMR is lower than mine as Protoss, it means that you're a low APM guy. You're not gonna have the mechanics to beat me. Therefore, all I have to do is play safe and not lose to any stupid early cheese. So what I decided to do is play as safe as possible, adapt to whatever shenanigans he was going to choose for the early game, not die to any stupid cheese, and that was basically my game plan, and counter-attack in the middle or late game to take the win. Here what I'm going to do, you can see that I am scouting with my initial SCVs because I expected a cheese, although surprisingly enough I noticed that Protoss players don't actually cheese that much anymore. They very rarely actually decide to go for proxy 2 gateways as they used to do 2 years ago, so I guess the meta is really changing. So here I can see that he's going for a very standard build. He's taking his cybernetic core immediately. That tells me that he's either going to go for a 1-gate Dragoon into Nexus, or a fast Rever drop, or potentially even DT build. But again, Protoss players don't do that anymore so often. So at this stage I was already expecting something like a fast Rever build. Here you can see that Protoss players are just really frankly so low He's losing a probe already, and that's just inexcusable, you know, unforgivable. So here I will basically hide an SCV here to scout later on. And you can see that his first Dragoon will not be able to see that. He will look for my SCV, but he won't even find it. And so that was a very smart move, which is going to give me such an advantage in the game. You know, in TVP, having vision is so key. And so here you can see that I am going down now with my SCV just in time to check his Protoss robotic facility, and at this stage I know for certain that it's going to be a fast rever build, and so I will adapt very quickly, and you can see that I was already positioned to take a fast base myself. I was first planning to go for the fast one factory expand with a tank to be safe, but here look at what I'm doing instead. Boom, I'm deciding to go for Starport first to be countering his rever drop with Wraiths. And that's actually going to be the right move, because as you can see, as soon as his rever is ready, I'm already sending my Wraith in the right direction. Here I will be a little bit unfortunate because, as you can see, I will, because of a lag actually, or a misclick, I will never be able to destroy his rever. That was really close. He was quite lucky here, I was quite unlucky, but you know what? At this stage, his rever is completely nullified already. All I have to do is make sure that my marines are on patrol here, place perhaps a turret here and one there, and basically his build is completely neglected. I'm already done building my command center, and he's only starting his own, and so soon I will be ahead in workers. And that's really, at this stage, I'm really confident in the game, and I really feel positive about you know, neglecting his initial strategy. And here I'm being extra safe, one turret here, one turret there, to avoid any sort of zealot bomb or something, and one turret there, and I'm already placing a few mines to make sure that he can never land safely his rever. So at this stage I am 100% safe. I'm starting my second factory, and I'm even going to be sending my second Wraith initially to defend against his drop coming back, but as you'll see, I'll actually be using it to scout and to harass his mineral line. Behind that, I'm going for the fast, the vulture speed upgrade, building as many vultures as I can. 2 tanks is enough to be, 3 tanks actually is enough to be very safe. You can see that I'm already catching up in the number of probes, and I already have my first drop ready. Meanwhile, I'm sending this Wraiths all around the map to check for any hidden quick surds, which is something that Protoss players really like to do. When they are behind, believe it or not, they like to take a quick surd, and if you scout it, you can easily punish it, but if you don't, that's going to allow them to go back in the game. My initial drop is already out, and that's going to completely catch him by surprise. And if you look at the probe count from that point onward, I will be up in the worker count, and I will be mining much more efficiently. This is wreaking havoc at this stage. I'm really doing far too many damages. Even my mines are going to be very efficient, and here it's an absolute catastrophe for him. I think each of my vultures had something like 6 or 7 kills. So here, for the first time in the game, I'm ahead in supply, and his army composition is really completely useless. Here is the Wraith, which is going to take a probe or two and be able to scout also this third base here. And here you can see that just the low APMs that my opponent has is really preventing him from multitasking efficiently, and he's already doing a lot of mistakes already. And here what I'm going to be doing, of course, is I'm going to go for another drop while I'm already researching my +1/+1, building additional factories, and also, importantly, my third command center. So my plan is always to add factories and either research new upgrades or take additional bases while I'm inflicting damages to the opponent. And of course, not forgetting to build SCVs. 50 is a decent, healthy count around the 10-minute mark, especially considering all the damage that I've been able to inflict, and also actually all the multitask that I had to have to be dropping everywhere. So here again, I'm trying to find another path with my drop, always to be able to surprise my opponent, and I'm going to be dropping here because there is a nice space behind the mineral line on Backrooms, which is this beautiful map I'm playing on. Sieging my tank, laying a few mines. Already inflicting a lot of damages. You can see that I always make sure that my drop goes back to my base immediately after dropping the units in the opponent's base, because that's what allows me to be multi-dropping and to you know, maximize their potential and inflict as much damage as I can. Here I'm already landing my third base. I'm transferring my workers, and I'm using this Wraith once again. You can see that I had a second kill to harass my opponent and to basically disrupt his actions. Meanwhile, adding a few factories, and I'm going to be dropping once again very soon. My opponent takes a quick fourth to come back in the game. That's exactly what I mentioned earlier, which is that when they feel they are behind, they will tend to go for additional bases. Here, once again, this second drop will be quite efficient. The first thing you want to do when you drop units like this in your opponent's base is obviously to lay as many mines as you can in strategic spots like this. Initially I was thinking about doing a run-by in the natural, but I decided to change my mind and go back in the main instead. And that was a really good choice, because once again you can see that I'm being as efficient as I can with my vultures, and that he lost many workers once again. Here I'm walling. Actually I should have put the supply here and the barrack there. That would have been a tight wall for zealots, but you can see that I'm using my floating buildings to always wall the entrances to my new bases and be as safe as I can. Once again, loading units into my drops and going for another drop in my opponent's base. Meanwhile, I have already reached the +1/+1 upgrades, and that's going to be very soon the time that I choose to push and to use this short distance between our mains to inflict damages to my opponent's supply line immediately. Again, exactly the same strategy. This third drop was a bit silly, but here, as you can see, The guy is, I keep my opponent behind in workers all game long. And that's really what's going to give me the game. I will speed the replay up a bit. And you can see that basically when I am researching, so it's my +1/+1. I have my 4th base, which is ready. I'm going to land it here. And while I'm landing there, around the 160 supply mark, when I have a decent number of factories, that's when I decide to push, to go out. And as you can see, as soon as I go out, I start researching the +2/+2. And here the key is going to be to take efficient fights, to take good fights, using these chokes here and forcing the pros player to engage from the low ground. So that's what I'm doing here, sieging in a nice spot. And you can see that he's on the low ground here, there, and here that he's basically facing my vultures while my tanks shoot from behind, which is exactly what you want to do as Terran against Protoss. Slowly but surely, making sure that I reach his base, and that's going really to give me full map control, because don't forget that that's where his gateways are, although he was building a complete new base here and planning to go for carriers later on in the game. Something smart that I will do here is that I will actually split my army while I'm destroying this base, considering that I have sufficient troops here to destroy that base. I will immediately attack this one as well. And at this stage he will lose both bases at the same time, while also losing almost all of his workers in those bases. And here I have doubled the amount of workers. He's trying a smart run by, but I'm lifting my command center, protecting my my troops, sending a few vultures back to defend. And at this stage I'm quite confident that I will take the game. Out of despair, he will try to take 2 additional nexuses, but he won't ever have the time to mine from those, and that's basically how I will take the game. So I was pretty happy about that game. My game plan went perfectly. I didn't do any mistake, and that's how I was able to take it, basically. So yeah, this game number 3 was a very, very positive win for me. It felt really amazing to be able to neglect his strategy at first, sending my initial Wraith against his River Drop, and basically making sure that I was always at least equal in upgrades and in the number of bases. You can see here that I was preparing to take my 5th base while doing this new push. So that's the strategy. You always try to take new bases while pushing, new upgrades while pushing, new factories while dropping. So that's really how you get steam in the game, and you succeed to basically always fight from a winning position against Protoss. So quite happy about that game. Moving on to now to game number 4. And here we go, guys. Game number 4, a Terran against Zerg for once. Here, as I mentioned at the start of this video, when I'm facing a Zerg, my mindset is so positive, as opposed to Terran against Terran, when I basically think, oh fuck, whatever the MMR of my opponent, I start the game from a very defeated, negative mindset. It's the complete opposite when I'm facing a Zerg. whatever the MMR, up to 1900 MMR, I start thinking, okay, this is a one game. This is when I need to basically win the game, and that's how I'm going to reach the higher rank. So this is going to be a classic trade-based situation. I'm sending my initial Marines. You can see that I'm always being as aggressive as I can in the start of the game. Taking a worker like that is already huge. A little bit of micro, keeping my Marines alive, and this is basically forcing him, as you can see, to take a Sunken or to build Zerglings. And you can see that just by doing that, you're completely taking the advantage early on. Here I'm going to be even more annoying, placing my Marines behind the mineral line, forcing him to at this stage this is only to force him to produce Zerglings because his Sunken is out of reach, which is what he's going to do. And even if I lose these initial Marines, they've done enough damage already, and that's fine. And so starting the game from an early advantage like that, 21 SCVs against 13 drones, is obviously ideal, and that's going to help me go into a 2 barrack into academy and eBay build, which is very, very standard, very safe build. Basically making sure that I am safe against everything. Again, trying to be as aggressive as I can. Here I'm killing his scouting overlord, which is supply blocking him. Again, a terrible, terrible situation for him. Here I'm scouting for a fast third, because if he has in fact taken a third, if he had in fact taken a third, I would have been able to punish it with my initial Marines as well as a few SCVs, just because I know that he's low on drones and because also I killed his initial overlord. So this is why I'm scouting. Generally speaking, in TVZ you want to scout to know where and when your opponent is taking a third. And the fact that he's not taking a third here is already a good indication that he's preparing some sort of push. And here my initial scout is revealing that he's going for Hydra first, which is definitely going to be lurkers. And so I'm preparing for that. So basically when I see that, what I want to do is probably not add a third and go as soon as possible for factory instead, to try to have vessels as soon as I can, and also to have tanks, a tank or two, to either bust the sunken line or to help me defend against the lurker push. So here, that's it, taking my factory and then my third barrack. And while I'm researching the range upgrade, I'm probably going to go for armor first before the weapon upgrade in my eBay. Here I'm just going out of my base, again forcing my opponent to build units, trying to neglect a quick third, forcing potentially additional sunkens. And so here I notice that his lurkers are not in his base, so I understand that he's probably right in front of mine. And so this is danger already. Not the best fight in the world, but with a little bit of micro I was able to avoid 2 lurker shots. And right after killing those 2 initial lurkers, I believe this is time to go out. Here I could have skipped the bunker, but as you may imagine, because my opponent didn't have a third, or at least I wasn't able to scout it, I was heavily suspecting a heavy lurker all-in. So because I knew that I was ahead in the worker count, and because I noticed that he was not playing very, very well, I thought this is just a matter of being safe, not dying to anything stupid, keeping my vision, and adding barracks, etc., and I will be able to win later on in the game for sure. Here is trying a run by, and that's basically going to be strategy all game long. He still hasn't taken a third, and that's really how this guy is going to be playing. He's going to avoid my main army and push with the very few lurkers that he has. He's preparing a huge army of lurkers, hydralisks, and early defilers, and you can see that he will have the Dark Swarm quite early on. And basically his entire game plan is going to do a run by around my base and push into my my base, sorry, and to neglect my supply. Here I'm going for a drop. I can see that my opponent has taken his third, also his fourth. Going for a drop here, just again trying to disrupt my opponent, is not going to work very well, unfortunately. But I guess as long as I'm distracting my opponent, it's fine. Almost double his supply, 40 supply up at this stage. And yeah. I'm taking my third myself at a very reasonable 12-minute mark. Trying another drop. I already have my +1 armor. I'm looking for my +2/+1. Here, whenever I take a base now, I just place some units to defend it as well, especially in those maps where you have two chokes. It's very important not to allow easy run-bys from your Zerg opponent. Again, my second drop was easily neglected by my opponent. Nonetheless, I was able to inflict some economic damage, killing a few probes with this marine. A few drones, sorry. And this is when I decide to move out against his third, and he was quite clever to try a run-by when my army was so thin. And here you can see that my 3 bunkers are going to be quite helpful, but not enough with the help of the Dark Swarm to prevent this run-by. Here I know that all I have to do is really defend myself because I'm killing his fourth and I will soon be killing his third as well. I'm sending all my troops back to defend because this is really indeed an emergency time. You can see that he's completely all in at this stage. He's even building lurkers in my army. And his plan is really to advance, move up the ramp and place Dark Swarms into my main base. Here I'm changing the rally points of my barracks, trying to keep my vessels alive. That's very important. You can see that my opponent has lost his 2 bases here. And here this is becoming serious trouble. I think he should have focused on this command center. Fighting with fire bats under Dark Swarm. He is constantly sending new Hydras to my base, But without the help of Dark Swarm, that's quite risky. You will see that I will place my fire bats directly under the Dark Swarm. Which makes them basically invincible. Because I'm mining from this third base non-stop with a good mineral saturation, I'm able to constantly build new units, including vessels, marines and medics. And so that's when his push really ended up not so successful after all. So here I will be able to really benefit from the comeback potential of the Terran army. And because this all-in attack didn't work, and because I defended it well, and because my units now are +2/+2, I will be able to close the game and take the win. I think he will be quite surprised by the size of my army, because he probably didn't expect me to be mining so efficiently from my third here, which was quite well defended all game long. So because I knew that this base was defended and mining, all I had to do basically was to defend this push, and I knew that the game was for me. But as you may imagine, during the fight it was quite intense and quite stressful. So here we go, guys. Game number 4 is won as well. Final game of my placement matches on the ladder. This time I was playing against a pros player once again, who spawned in the top left corner in green. And I'm the orange Terran here in the bottom right corner. This was a very, very special game. I really wanted to finish on a good note and have 4 wins out of my 5 placement matches. Here I decided to go for a very, very early scout around the 10th supply mark. I believe that was because my opponent had a lower MMR than myself, and so I wanted to be safe against any cheeses. That may have been a bit too early on. You know, that was perhaps a little bit too safe, because I know that I'm wasting mining when I'm doing that, so perhaps that's something that I won't do in the next game. I think I would scout more around the 12 or 13 worker mark. So here I find his base, kill his initial probe, and you will see this is going to be a very, very particular game, because knowing that he went for a very standard 2 gateway into Nexus, I will simply try to defend myself. Wasn't so easy, because I decided to take my vultures first, and then I had to wait obviously for the tank to be able to safely mine and get rid of that threat in front of my bunker. So here it's a very standard start of the game. I wasn't facing a very, very good opponent, I must say. And so I'm going for a very quick drop build, because I already have 2 vultures, and I also have a tank to defend my base, a few mines. So all I have to do at this point is really research the siege tank upgrade, and I'm going to be safe to send a drop. Here I'm going to be extremely greedy, because I'm going to be taking 2 armories behind that while doing a first drop. As you can see, I'm very, very thin, but I am quite safe thanks to all those mines and the fact that I am non-stop producing tanks behind that. A second drop already, so at this stage really, as you can see, my strategy is really going to be multi-dropping, which I believe on this particular map and in the cross position could work quite well. Once again, you will see that pros players are really not used to being harassed in the early game. They are quite used to the opposite, being the ones in the initiative. So once again, he will have a a good reaction timing, but he will lose far too many probes already, and this is already a very efficient drop. So yeah, so that was quite useful, quite efficient. You can see that I'm already sending back my initial dropship, while also preparing the second drop and researching my +1/+1. With a little bit of micro, I succeed to keep those vultures alive. You can see that I am completely neglecting any sort of mining in the early game, which is going to give me a huge advantage. And here I'm going for a double drop. So as you can see, I'm very thin on defense. This is very dangerous, and he's going to see that with his observer. So here I'm going to choose a double drop strategy. You can see that he's so low on worker. The guy is clearly not a very strong player. He's doing a lot of mistakes. Here I changed the direction of my dropship to keep it alive. Again, adding factories, taking my third base while doing all of these drops. So here I'm laying as many mines as I can everywhere to make this tank as dangerous as possible. And I'm also planning a second drop right there while I'm dropping in the main. The problem is obviously that I have a very thin army because of that for this particular sensitive window, and that's when he decides to go for a big push, which was quite a smart move obviously. That's why I decide to fight with my SCVs to change the rally points of my factories, place mines, and already you can see that he only has one worker alive. I'm starting to target his bases now. And so I know that at this point it's basically a trade-based situation. I'm soon going to have a third command center. My units are already +1/+1. I'm soon going to be destroying both his nexuses if he's not careful. So all I have to do is play extra safe, make sure he never goes up the ramp. In any case, he doesn't have enough army to do that. Here I even had a few mines to defend this tank and make sure that the nexus was lost. And this is checkmate, guys. Yeah, checkmate, victory. And that was the end of my placement matches, 4 wins out of 5. And as you can see this season, I'm really intending to play more with my brains, play more strategically, and that's how I intend to get wins. I will try to stay positive and keep playing strategically, adapting well to my opponent's strategy, and hopefully not in a future not so far away, I will be able to reach B. Thanks guys for watching, and take care.